Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson, blending survival fiction and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 354. Hey, Chen, what's up?
Hey, Chid's up. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I was happy to get away from my technology for a little bit. My son didn't tear my podcast up too bad, so that was all right. And yeah. So, no, it was a good getaway, even if the destination was California. It just reminded me.
Snuck under the curtain?
Yeah, but seriously, you have to go in like through the gates and stuff. And the closer you get to California, they're like, do you want to see the COVID notifications of where the live events are right now? Would you like to be scared senseless so you can never go back to a free state of mind again? And I'm like, no. And my phone's like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I'm going to offer it to you again in about a half hour. And I'm like, no. Oh, yeah. And just the level of crazy as you start getting closer and closer to the West Coast. We had breakfast one morning at McDonald's on the road. A guy comes in with like an asparagus spear shoved up his nose. In Kingman, Arizona, so that was a great representation of that city there. Yeah, I don't know if he was like stopping a nosebleed or what, but
I have to read that. Did Dr. Bones talk about that?
yeah, I think that was like, that was definitely
what to do. No,
I'm not even going to throw Dr. Bones under that bus, man. No way. I was like, all right, this is weirdo country. So, very expensive gas prices. Yep. Of course, it was nice to visit with my friends that I have back there. But yeah, it reminded me, beautiful, beautiful countryside, but overall reminded me exactly why I left that place. The amount of fear that is just, they talk about like survivalists and preppers always fear porning and everything. Their radio fear porn's like all day long, man. You're just like, wow. I don't know. So it was good to leave, come home. We stopped by the Zion National Park on the way home. It was pretty. Yep. That was nice. And then we got home and we were reminded why it is absolutely essential to have a medic in your survival group. Because my husband ended up going to the hospital. He has kidney stones, and it was a very scary day with his body going into shock and stuff like that. And, very scary in the hole. And so if you didn't have a facility where you could just take somebody to and get these CAT scans and find out immediately what's wrong, what a nightmare that would be.
I know it'd be like scary if you with all the pain and stuff, not knowing what's causing it, right?
Right, exactly. And
Did you have something burst, and
Yeah, and his body was literally going into shock from the amount of pain that he was in and whatnot, and that can be deadly. So and then if you had the fear on top of that, and it just gets worse and worse, man, I can see how just little things like that aren't
little.
Not little.
Well, I guess it was little.
It is pretty little. It just has a very little space to go down to get out of his body too. So, but yeah, it really made me stop for a moment and be like, wow, a medic is going to be worth his weight in gold or her weight in gold.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In a survival scenario. So definitely, keep studying, make sure you have, some skills. Dr. Bones has just bloomanddoom.net, and they have a plethora of information on there. But if you can find somebody who's already trained or whatever, and you can get them in your group, good move. My neighbor is actually a nurse practitioner, so they're good people. So that'd be an idea. I'd be like, you're coming with us, dude. Yeah. So I don't know, but definitely important because I'm telling you, that was a scary, scary day.
I bet.
So how's the gardens going out there? Everything?
How's the garden growing?
Yeah.
You were speaking about asparagus, and we actually have asparagus growing.
All
So
right.
there you go. I'm ready for the next
See,
nosebleed or whatever that
I love
cures.
eating asparagus, but once it gets
Not
established,
after the fact.
it smells like the stinkiest fart in the world,
Uh,
like out at your garden the whole time. I'm just
oh,
like,
really?
rip
I
that
can't wait.
asparagus out. Yes, we
We have
did.
10 plants. I think she planted 10 of them.
Yeah,
but-
we ended up tearing ours out because
Nah,
I do. I love asparagus too, man. But
this is the first time I've ever grown it. I've never grown it before.
yeah, I just couldn't. By like year 3, once it was established and stuff, I'm
Yeah.
like really ready to be a producer. Oh my gosh, the stink in our garden, like all the time. I just put it off to the side or something, where you don't have to. Ours was
Well,
like front and center, and it was just like,
Yeah, we'll have to do an annual asparagus update.
yeah, like how the stink is going. 'Cause I
How
couldn't
does your
stand
asparagus grow?
it. I couldn't stand it. I ripped it out. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. I was like, it's nasty. I'll
Yeah,
buy
the
it
wife
from the
had a
store.
couple strawberries. Ate a couple strawberries the
Nice.
other day. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's-
Well, I was
it's-
listening to the live podcast a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, Fletcher got called in to work
Yeah.
last week, but a couple weeks ago, and he insisted it was the wind. And I will tell you, what will kill plants faster than the wind is not being watered when it's like a billion million degrees out.
Oh, I know.
So,
And I
yeah.
found out it's quantity of water too, because we were watering them twice a day, and then I went to once a day,
Uh-huh.
and they didn't like that too much, so I had to go back to twice a day.
Uh-huh, right? Yeah, I've been
You
doing
have
a
to
lot
find
of flooding.
what they need. Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of flooding on my garden since we got back in town, and we're putting up like some shade pergolas over the garden so that it just keeps them a little bit cooler because this heat is just
Yeah, in Texas.
ripping everything.
Yeah, we had a plant a tree that we thought died. It was brown, and then since I started watering it twice a day, it's got fresh leaves growing.
Yeah,
so that
pop
was
back. Yeah.
encouraging. Yeah.
Our blueberry bushes are like out in the heat. We need to plant them closer in, but
Yeah.
same. You're like, oh my God, that one's dead. It's never coming back. Then all of a sudden,
Yeah, I
bloop,
came
it gets a little leaf.
Yeah,
You're like,
I
all right,
was-
all right.
I was like, look at this! It's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Tough little guy.
So another, really important factor that I think about, like here at this house, we're on city water. We've never been on city water before.
Yeah.
We've always had access to a well. But
Yeah.
like in a collapse scenario, yeah, what good are your gardens if you can't water them?
Well, I'm on a well here, but it changes. I grew up on a well, right? So I kind of get it. But I've been on city water forever, and that's city water. You just watch your checkbook, right?
Right.
But when you're on a well, you're watching like, oh, I better not take a long shower. It hasn't rained in a while.
Oh, right.
I just
feet per
think
minute
about
and
all
stuff.
that now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's like,
absolutely.
I gotta water the plants, and I've been making up dripper hoses to go around each of the trees and stuff, so I can, get it right there instead of wasting it in,
Midair.
evaporation and stuff
Yep.
where it doesn't really get to where it needs. Because I can't look down the well and see how much water is in there, so I got to respect it and treat
Yep.
it, like conserve it.
Yep. Yeah, that was the people who bought our house in California found that out real quick. One of the neighbors called and he was like, oh, the guy's having problems with the well. Was there like a trick or something? I'm like, yeah. When you're just, because it pumped up to this 100-gallon holding tank on the top of the hill. Well,
Yeah.
when you're just constantly demanding water for it, then it's constantly trying to fill that tank. And the well was under so much pressure down the hill, it would start hopping. And then it would cut through the wires on it. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
I know exactly what's wrong, but good luck. Welcome to the country.
Yep, exactly. It's a whole different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I'm gonna like. There wasn't a pipe burst or where like in the city where a pipe burst or could boil your water. You get these warnings and stuff like that. It's not that, but now it's like I'm happy every time the water comes out the spigot when I turn it on because.
Nice. Yeah. All right. I just heard back in from the Intrepid Commander right now. He's the last one I'm waiting on lines to get the audio drama done. Yeah. So now I'm super on him. I'm like, I'm back from vacation and I'm almost done, but guess what the problem is? Hint, hint. So yeah,
funny.
he better get some work done for me. But like I said, it is almost done. I am like couple episodes from having it all tied up with a pretty little bow. And you guys are going to love it. It's coming out fabulous.
You need to send Swenson knocking on his door.
Yeah, right? Yeah, where's he at? Bring the whip over. Get moving, James, or else. Wrong choice, son.
That's great.
So Binge Show is coming. Binge Show is coming next week, right? Yeah, next week. I got to rally the troops.
Dave was talking about it on one of his DACs, his little daily rants.
All right.
He was getting all excited about it.
Yeah, next week we're doing the giveaways for the people in the live chat, so you better get on into the live chat. You can get signed up at PBN, Prepper Broadcasting Network. I always think of bull riding when I say PBN. I'm like, we're down here in Texas. We're going to have some PBN. But C.W. Hathaway's riding big
We should get a sponsor.
Right?
There, you need to get a sponsor. We could have a mechanical bull at Prepper Camp this year.
Yeah. That'd be epic. So, get signed up for the live chat over there.
All the hosts, instead of like a ducking booth, all the hosts could ride the mechanical bull. And
I'm good at that. Like that, I'm pretty good at it. Yeah, this dude was like checking me out.
Because you got a low center of gravity.
Yeah, this dude was like looking at my husband like, she wants to try and do this. And Brock's like, yeah, put her up there, you know. And he starts it out all like sissy speed. I'm like, are you serious right now? I did pretty good. I'm not kidding.
Nice.
Okay. You totally squirreled me. Okay. July 3rd, binge episode, giveaways in the live chat. All of the paid subscribers to ChangeYourSeries.com, all my paid subscribers, you guys will start getting commercial-free access to the audio drama on July 3rd. Episode 1 will air for you. And then for everybody else listening for free, July 10th is when that begins airing. Episode 1 will come out on July 10th. And, all the commercials are our supporters and our peeps that take so much time and effort doing these lines for me and things like that. Everybody does it on a volunteer basis. And so show them your appreciation. Go support them a little bit. Buy some free dried goodies and some long-term stuff to keep your family happy. Okay, perfect. I'm so excited about doing the show today. I like stumbling over myself a little bit. All right. But today we're talking about America Divided. And you guys are like, oh, no, man. This is my homesteading channel. And we're talking about the planet here and stuff. And, well, in light of the recent events that are going on in our country, I thought it was time to do what I consider like a backup, right? A pull yourself out of the emotion a little bit. Look at this big picture kind of day where we're not so immersed in our arguments and our polarized opinions that we take a step back to really look at, okay, what's the big picture for our country? So we're going to go on a little history trip and talk about that. Sounds like fun, huh? So no matter how you feel about social issues right now, while we're arguing, we have this mystical elitist control that's trying to push through an agenda, which is basically the new world order. So many of our leaders have called it this this monetized global economy where it's a one system for the whole world. And everybody's going to fall under that with global governing systems and things like that. But America is much too free, a much too independent place to just smack this on the people and be like, oh, you're going to own nothing by 2030 and be happy about it. Mm-hmm. So, the World Economic Board, they're sitting back there just quietly watching and deploying in the background where as long as we keep these blinders on, important issues, yes. But as long as we keep these blinders on, they can just keep going about their business. And there's nobody, really waking up to the fact that, holy goodness, our country is being taken over by this power or that power or this power instead of the people ruling themselves. So, divide and conquer. You've probably heard it before. It's a strategy that's been deployed throughout history. It was used by Julius Caesar, it was used by Machiavelli, Napoleon used it, King Louis the 11th of France, and the British Empire used it quite heavily and systematically to control India for so long. They're a huge country that were under control of Great Britain for a very long time. How did that happen? We're going to talk about that today. The U.S. also used this. Our founders realized that divide and conquer was not always a bad thing. And if you look up divide and conquer, this is Chin, our pre-show baseball, They try to paint it in a very beautiful light, how you can use it so well to help with marketing
the article
strategies.
Was like, this is how we use it for doing this task and that task. And it's like, it's not a bad thing.
Right.
Which,
computer
it's kind of like,
algorithm.
how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. Well, that's basically the divide and conquer, right?
Right. When you break it down to its basics. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So these computer algorithms use them for advanced engineering, for marketing, things like that. So it's basically, like you say, eating an elephant one bite at a time. It's breaking down a larger problem or task into these more manageable bites. So you're not trying to just shove the whole elephant in your mouth.
Yeah, when they say it that way, it makes sense, right? Because you get paralyzed. So you get this huge monster. It's like, okay, move that house. Like, how the hell am I going to move that house?
Okay, first I have to do this.
You step back, make your spreadsheets, and
get
your calendar out and figure it out.
Exactly. Produce a TV series. Okay, how am I going to make that happen? These are the steps,
Call
right?
Sarah.
Exactly. We're working on it. So it actually comes from the Latin term divide et impera. And it dates back to 359 to 336 BC when Philip II of Macedonia used this concept to rule over his people. So basically, the population of the U.S. is this huge individualized population. And it was that way ever since the beginning. You had different cultures settling different states with different belief systems. And how were they going to put a one rule government over the top of such a diverse collection of people? Well, they couldn't. They couldn't do it. And that's why they made states individual rights, freedoms, constitutions for each state. So that each state could govern itself. And then they were the United States that were all part of this federal system that handled interstate commerce and foreign relations and things like that. They were never initially built to be a part of your everyday life as they are now. It was definitely the responsibility of the states to determine how they were going to govern their people. The recent decision that was just made is in the same category as that. It should fall back to state rights. So what if you have this collection of states and you wanted to implement a new power structure or societal norms, as we're calling it these days, on the entire U.S.? So, we have this diverse collection of people, but we want them all to go with this system. We want to take them over with this system. Or we want to destroy their country with this system, depending on what type of threat you're discussing. That's actually on our playing board right now. So
you have a big, complex problem.
Right. You have a big, complex problem. A system that's working, a system of organization that's actually working. They're actually doing okay. How do we destroy it?
Mm-hmm.
So British Empire, they were the masters of divide and conquer with India, as I mentioned earlier. And their first step was to break up existing power groups into smaller groups that were easier for the ruling class to control. So if you look at the Democratic and Republican parties, it used to be very clear that you were either the Democrat or the Republican. They had clear value structures, what their parties represented, and what their goals were for the country as a party. Everybody kind of saw this and they were like, oh, okay, I see this way, I fit in with them. I see this way, I fit in with them. However, over the years, we've had the independents come up, and I'm not saying that this shouldn't be challenged at some point, that this shouldn't be challenged, but this gave us like a way for large populace of the United States to have one voice, right? But now the emergence of greed has really, really just fractured our parties apart. So a lot of Democrats are now like, I don't stand with these radicals, and I don't believe in what they're doing and where they're going, but I'm not sure where else I fit in. And a lot of the Republicans don't feel that their party acts enough on things. They feel that the Republican Party often just kowtows to whatever's going on anyway, not really representing their values, but they don't know where else to vote either.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you have like they're very fractured inside of these conglomerate groupings. Other options are available and great options. There's the Constitutionalist Party. The Libertarian Party kind of disappointed me, but there was other options out there. But they haven't developed like the overwhelming popularity to really harness that large amount of votes to get their viewpoints cast through. So you're like, well, if I go vote with them, I'm just going to throw my vote away, right? Which was fine for me in California because, like, I knew where the votes were going anyway. But, I almost don't want to register for any party because I'm just like, right. Are they all not the same? And not at the same time. They're so fractured that nobody, you had the Tea Party within the Republican Party. You had, the Trump MAGA movement within the Republican Party, but not all Republicans stood behind that. And same with the Democrats. You have a lot of radicals that are out there, OC and her stuff, and a lot of people aren't representing that. They want to stand at the more moderate limit, but they don't have that option because this is where the parties fracture and where they're going. So that's a great way. Now, you can't just vote, you've broken the parties, so they're not even as powerful on their own, either one, no matter which one you're talking about. They're not as powerful anymore because they're so fractured within themselves. So this fracture just allows that ruling class to really just do whatever they want because they're not accountable to any of the people. The people's voice is so split.
They donate and play all parties. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Whoever's going to make it work for us, we're going to just, kind of own them and go from there.
It's even beyond just, like these they're like international corporations and players now. Exactly. So it's not even like they're all involved in the mix.
Right. It's not even, I was thinking the same thing as I was putting this together, is you're not even really talking about just America anymore.
Right.
Because so many of these people and corporations are worldwide. So now they're pushing their agenda in how many countries across the whole globe?
You remember when everything, it used to be made in America, then it was made in Mexico, right? And then it was made in China. So they're just bopping around the globe wherever it's most, it's best for them at that point in time. It's like maybe one of us, where do we go to get coffee? Well, we might go to this store, but then if they
raise their prices,
or if they don't have caramel anymore, then we go to this store on the other corner. And that's how they treat the globe.
Exactly. And at the same time, the populations that were dependent upon those businesses, those activities, they're like, yeah, whatever, bye.
Yeah.
There's no loyalty there. There's no sense of duty to that.
Yeah.
So another example that I found coming out of Britain's rule of India was their support for subgroups that favored their control. So, if they can find the groups, okay, yeah. I mean, do I need to even say more at this point? Right? If they can find the groups that would support them and favor their control, those were the groups that they gave money to, they donated to, they promoted more over the groups that didn't support them so that they could maintain control. I mean, I don't really know how I could explain that any more black and white of what's going on with voting, you know, the amounts of money that get dumped into support for these organizations that, you know, might not even be nefarious groups, but, you know, going local, so George Soros and that, digging into local governments to support certain candidates within so that they can get down to the grassroots ends of things instead of just going big picture. You know, you can just connect the dots yourself on whatever you want to follow money-wise and see where all this is coming together. But a prime example was the support over Antifa and their riots versus like the January 6th riots, which I wouldn't even consider a riot, but like the Antifa people were getting bailed out of jail by politicians.
By politicians.
Right? Where the January 6th people are still sitting in solitary confinement a year later.
And any politician that goes to look into it gets blacklisted, pretty much.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is like, you know, there's your wake up. There's your like, so whether you support it or not, you've got to see what's going on. And the more fractured that we become, the easier it is for that ruling class to keep applying their control, applying their agenda, making the people just do whatever they want them to do. It's been kind of disappointing, the America not standing up to certain, you know, worldwide groups, and then watching third world countries do it and just, you know, oh yeah, America, the big freedom fighters, and they're just putting us to shame right now. It's really kind of disgusting. We should be the lead country for, you know, freedom. They wave our flags in the streets as a symbol of freedom. You know, come on. Yeah. We're too busy fighting and, you know, being computer behind the desk, you know, vigilantes.
Keyboard jockeys.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. The keyboard jockeys that, you know, you can't look a little big picture and be like, wow, America's really falling apart right now. Maybe we should come together a little bit so we can keep this place that we so much love in at least some kind of good condition. And then the push towards the lack of moral fortitude. So the population just weakens. I mean, you have to have values. You have to stand for something. It's a country song. Some of you are going to get it. You have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Like, you have to know what you stand for. And that doesn't mean that can't be changed or altered or re-examined. But you have got to stand from some kind of a moral principle so that you can fight for what you believe in and you can try to keep some sense of a moral balance in our world of treating people with respect. You know, I mean, it's kind of funny to watch like how, oh, it's an endangered animal and things like this. And we can't, you know, the animal. Well, how are you treating fellow humans right now? I'm just saying, like, you know, that's pretty sickening. I mean, I try to treat everybody, even Asparagus Man. I treat him with respect. You know, I was like, hey, sir, how's it going this morning with your asparagus up your nose? That is an odd choice. But you know what? Like, he walks in next to a CEO. I'm going to give him the same amount of respect because they're both human beings. Without bringing God into it. That's my explanation for you. All right. Another method that Britain used was that the ruling class would create discord between the lower class people so that the subgroups would stay in constant argument with each other. Huh. Okay. So again, if you need further explanation on this one, you know, this just keeps people fighting with each other instead of joining together so that their overall rights are maintained, so that everybody's rights are maintained instead of one group or another's. And you can just look at what's happening on our streets right now. Like I say, I don't want to dive into one topic or another. It's not about what I believe in. It's about our country. And our country is going to fall apart if we can't pull our heads from our rears and start getting along with one another and fighting for the people of this country as a whole. Social media, prime example. When you are on a social media site, well, we were talking about this beforehand. You can't even be on a social media site and have various opinions. If your belief structure is this, you get kicked off of Facebook and Twitter, and you go over to Getter and, right? I mean, now we have specific social medias.
Here's your sandbox. You go stay over there.
Yeah, right? I mean, just ridiculous that we cannot share with one another all beliefs. And if you look at all of your notifications that you get and you look at all of that stuff, what usually comes up is stuff you're going to click on. Why do you click on it? Because it backs up what you already believe in. You can click on it and be like, yeah, see, boom, boom, boom. You see what's happening? I'm blah, 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 blah. All about it, right? But you never see an article come up that's like, hey, here's why it might not be so true. Why don't you like get the full picture kind of thing? Expand your horizon. Check out other belief values and find your middle. You never get that. Would you even click on it? If you did, I would. I'd be like, oh, I'm curious. What are they saying?
Read about it. Right?
Yeah. But
you know what's interesting? I've listened to a couple podcasts recently coming from 180 degrees, and it's almost like if you just change some of the names or groups, it's you could play it on either side.
Right? It's saying the
They're
same
saying
thing.
The same messaging.
Yes.
It's just insert name A in this spot or name B in this spot.
That's why I've totally been trying to like eliminate left and right from my jargon, from my rhetoric, from my everything. Because just standing from that viewpoint, always, you're never going to cross to the middle. You're never going to find common ground, a place we can all agree on to walk forward together and make a better future for our children, So that's, and I agree. Looking at all the different articles and whatnot, you could almost just insert other group name, and it would be exactly what you say.
Same article. What was that? Remember those pads? They were like, it was like a story pad.
Oh,
but it had blanks in it.
Mad
and you would ask, like, give me
Yep.
a name of a girl, or
Yep,
give me a
verb.
name of a boy, give me a pet's name, give me and then
Yep.
you fill them all in, and then you read the story when it was done.
Yep,
it's kind of like what they're doing.
Exactly. No, I couldn't disagree, or I couldn't agree more. It's just
you couldn't disagree more.
I couldn't disagree more. Yes.
Falls right in line.
So what? Well, yeah, exactly.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, divide and conquer. I'm dividing the Changing Earth show right now. No. So social media, very, very polarizing. What you're going to get fed is exactly what you believe, and they're just out there to polarize you even more and keep you even more in your corner so that you never go out and shake a hand and understand that we're all Americans. We all want to fight for individual freedoms. We all want, certain social goals for our children in the future, and we can realize those dreams as a population if we quit with the namby-pamby arguing in the sandbox material, and start looking at...
Have you been in like small towns and like talk to people in the stores or at the gas station?
Yes, I do that all the time.
You can have conversation, and there's a lot of stuff that we all agree on.
Yep.
And I mean, you can guess by whatever.
Even in California,
where they would vote, but if you stay off the hot topics and you just discuss basics, we could all come together really easily.
Really easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And if you just stay away from those polarizing topics,
which are
always going to be disagreement there. And that's why you vote for it in your community level and then your state level. And then if you don't like what your state's doing, you move to a different state. I mean, that's what it's about. But
they're trying to homogenize that, right? Because they're trying to make all the states the same. Well, like if Yeah. If you liked something specific, then go to the like. If you like the ocean, we'll go to the ocean.
Right.
Don't go to like Las Vegas to go surfing in a pool, right?
Right.
So
Oh, it was a horrible experience. Well, of
yeah.
course, Yeah. And even, back in California, like I say, it's definitely different as far as the
Hmm.
people goes, but you sit down and talk with them, they all want to be, most of them want to sit down and be good people. And you
Yep.
got all people of all different colors, all different races,
Yeah.
all different
Heck yeah.
backgrounds. And, you sit down and you actually talk with people, get out from behind the keyboard, you know, you're like you say, it's really easy to come to common grounds on a lot of things. So, Niccolo Machiavelli, he fostered suspicion amongst his people to maintain control. Huh. Wow. I'm thinking like civil disarmament, and I'm thinking like how red flag laws kind of like play right into that. Like, report your neighbor. Does your neighbor have COVID? Report them. Does your neighbor, report them, report them.
And you could be like, I hated their dog. Ah,
Yeah.
now's my
Yeah.
chance.
Right?
That dog barked all night long.
And I know they like to go out and use that, firearm.
I swear
I'm
they
going
said
to-
something
yeah.
about, being treated or not being treated. Oh, I can like call this number.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of the problems aren't on a red flag list. They were on a certain government's list. And they're the ones who caused the problems. Very interesting. So, there's lots behind their civil disarmament proposals. But a lot of it is the fear push, the divide, that type of thing. So we can keep everybody
I was just reading
isolated.
an email yesterday, and it said, "What's the biggest enemy of love?
Fear.
And everybody's like, "Yeah, hate, right? No, exactly. It's fear. Fear is the enemy of love, not hate.
Yeah.
Fear is. Yeah.
You can watch it run rampant. I'm telling you, the further you drive east from or west from here, it is just, it's rampant. It's rampant fear, and it's really almost sad to see like how manipulated people can be, especially when you're not living there anymore. And so you're just going in for like a sneak peek. And I try to explain it, but you just don't get it till you're not there. Right? You just don't understand till you're not being constantly inundated with it.
It's like living next to the factory. You don't smell the fumes and the off gases, right? But
yes,
but you go away on vacation. You come home and like, what's that stink?
Ew, what's that smell? Yeah. Exactly. Interesting. You just don't smell the stink when you don't live there.
Well, I used to live by the marsh in South Carolina, so you would never smell it. But at low tide, it smelled like diapers almost. But like you go away and you come back, and it's like, oh man, you pay extra for that.
So basically, the tribes of America and the us versus them mentality, that's the thing that's rotting the U.S. from the core. And the power players just love it. They're just like, yeah, let's keep it dripping. Separating groups on race, religion, gender, sexual preference, civil disarmament opinions, other differences. It's the best way to prevent these groups from unifying. You don't want any of those groups to unify, or else, power people are in big trouble. So every time, you get fiercely fired up over something that's going on, understand that there's ways to change those that don't involve like going out and hating on other people, being afraid of other people, that type of thing. There's ways to influence popular opinion without any of the craziness that's kind of going on, because you should have a respect for other people. Going and looting somebody's store because of a decision that was made by the Supreme Court, it's not solving anything. How
does it advance your cause?
How does that help anything?
Yeah.
That's just an excuse to go out and break laws. So definitely, sometimes we need to pull back from the emotion. I understand, and you got to be passionate about what you believe in, and go be a part of your cause. That's all well and good, but also you need to understand the bigger picture as well. That we are a beautiful, diverse, a experiment in freedom. And I would say a successful one, as long as we can keep our heads about us and not get wrangled into this, namby-pamby type of BS that's going to rip us apart if we can't get our heads together. So the founders of the country, they also knew the value of divide and conquer when they set up our government. That's why we have the legislative, the executive, and the judicial powers. Each one was put in place to prevent the other from becoming too powerful. We can't just have executive branch that can issue orders and just whoosh take, without the Supreme Court being able to go, no, we're not doing that. So it was also put in place to ensure that the people and the country come first over individual agendas or individual greed. And so that's why when people are like, oh, well, whatever the Supreme Court said, we should just, do whatever anyway. No, you shouldn't, because that was put in place to make sure that each voice in the United States was important. We all deserve respect. We're all children of God. And it's important. And you can't just let one overrule the other and move on, because that's what keeps us balanced for the future. And it takes a long time.
Kings are being made.
Yes, exactly. And it does. It takes a long time, and it's a long process, and it's kind of annoying that way. But the minute that you lose it, the minute that you ask for a king, then you're under the rule,
Yep.
So divide and conquer is also used in the military quite a bit, and it can be used to physically separate your opponent with maneuvers. It can be used to make leaders doubt their men, or make the men doubt their leaders. And you can say people make the leader doubt people, make people doubt the leader. Julius Caesar did this during the Gallic Wars. And there was a really cool Netflix documentary, just a side note, on Julius Caesar and the Roman. It was really, really neat. Very cool, very well done, like fiction and documentary at the same time. But he did it perfectly during the Gallic Wars. They had a super strong army, and he got the army to basically lose belief in their leader, which is how he was able to conquer them, which was pretty dang smart if you ask me. But look at what's happened to our country. Like, it used to be you had a pride in your president and the ruling factions, and nobody has trust in that right now.
Right.
On both sides, like either way, nobody has trust in the people representing them. People say, I'm not voting for the best person, I'm voting for the least worst option. That is horrible, right? That just shows you that the people have lost trust in their leaders. That's a major problem with our country right now. And if you were a certain other country that maybe wanted to take the United States over eventually, or severely diminish them, and they've written a whole book about how to do that without facing the military might of the United States, that is one prime way that you could utterly destroy the country. So if you had the power to get into news media and things like that, what kind of problem would you help propagate? You would help the people to go, yeah, we don't trust our leaders. And you would help those leaders go, yeah, we don't trust those people. And now you've got big, big problems. It was even in the art of war. If sovereign and subject are in accord, put division between them. Mm-hmm. So if everything's clicking between the leadership and the people, you've got to stop that straight away, because that's the only way to destroy a solid country like that, which is what the United States of America was. So that's my rant. I tried to stay as neutral as possible, because honestly, it's not about opinion. I value everybody's opinions, but opinions are like rear ends. Everybody's got them and they all stink, right? So, everybody's opinion is important, but sometimes we got to look at the big picture, and we haven't done that in this country in a while. And that's scary, that we're not looking at protecting ourselves. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I got removed from certain social media avenues, because I kept saying that right at the beginning of everything. Guys, watch out for your freedoms. I understand things are scary and things might seem threatening, but if you allow certain freedoms to be removed from you, they are never given back. And we're walking a very, very fine line in our country right now. So we really need to.
That's like dangerous language, Sarah.
I know.
How can you use such words?
I know. I love our country so much. I just do. I believe in the United States of America, and everybody's like, yeah, Texas could just succeed. And I'm like, I know, but I love the United States of America. I love what she stands for. And
look at how words have been twisted. To be patriotic used to be like, it was to be a patriot, right?
Was good.
And now now it's like, heck, they named football teams like the Patriots.
Right? Yeah.
But
now it's like, oh, you're one of those? You're talking about freedom? Uh-oh. Yeah, we can't. Yeah. Why? Why would that be suppressed? Go figure. Mm-hmm. And I have to wonder just, how many other people that happened to right about then.
Oh, tons.
Yeah. And so it really makes me just concerned about, I just want to see this country prosper, be a place where people can find respite from, other countries and the dealings, and a belief. There's a reason they wave our flags to represent freedom.
Well, heck, I got bounced off of Discord, and the EOC used to be on Discord, and then we got bounced. For who knows why? I don't even know what I did wrong.
I don't know what you did either.
And
but
they wouldn't
I
even tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So
me neither.
We have a new home. Fine. Mm-hmm. We'll just, fine. We got a better place to go now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better anyway. So we got our own sandbox. We took our ball and went someplace else. All right. Well, I think we divided and conquered. I broke it into pieces. I solved
pieces
each problem.
So we could digest it. Yep.
Yes. I put it all together. And next week we're doing the big event, so everybody's got to come out. We're going to listen to the end of season 1, and then on July 10th we're going to be rolling with season 2. That show has its own podcast now. It will not be playing on the Changing Earth podcast, just so you guys know. You have to go out and find the link to, obviously just come over to my website, changingearthseries.com. You don't have to go you're like,
don't make it a complex problem for us.
Yeah. So then you're going to need to divide and conquer that.
Crack
Yeah. But it's going to be, the new episodes are like 45 minutes to an hour long. So there's no way I can play them with this show as we do the commentary, right? So we'll just be discussing what happened in that episode.
They'll have to do their homework.
Exactly.
Listen.
So you got to go listen to the show on its own podcast. It just needs its own platform and needed its own space. So that's where it is. And that is the Changing Earth audio drama. And it should be out on most major players. I have problems just finding my stuff in general. So just come over to my website, and then you'll link through to it from there, changingearthseries.com. And then you can find it on your players and whatnot. I don't know. Suppression of views they don't believe in or whatever. I don't get it. But
yeah, but think about what you can do now. I mean, you're like running your own radio show.
That's true.
Publishing your own books,
right?
All this stuff. That's stuff that you'd never be able to do as a.
Yeah, I've taken advantage of all of the modern tools, and once we get it to the TV series and then go big, it'll be like the American story of the century, because I'm self-published and made it all happen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's right. Oh. I knew Sarah when she was a writer with a pen.
Oh, man. It takes a lot of perseverance, I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not an easy journey, folks. If you think it is, Good luck. Good luck. But you know what? Yeah, God wouldn't have given me the mission if I wasn't strong enough to handle it. So here we go.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. So happy to be back. Happy to have you all with me. I hope you come out on next week so that you guys can win some free goodies. I think I'm going to give away a full book set and then like a couple 2 book sets. Yeah, I know. The full book set's a big deal. That's like $120 in books. So, yeah, that's a big deal. So if you want the series, got to get over there. Someone's going to win it. I don't know who. I'll let James decide. I'm not good with those things. I'm just like, everybody. But yeah, that doesn't work. You get a book, and you get a book, and you get a book.
Okay, Oprah.
yeah, right. I wish. That'll be there. So,
funny.
All right. Well, let's take off, and we'll be back next week, and we'll be listening to audio drama live. All right. So until then, remember, dream,
survive.